All right, week 37, Comedy Accelerator Workshop Recap. May 3rd, we're back inside, thank God, in the Austin, Texas weather, much more viable. We had 24 workshoppers, and we start out with career talk. Again, I try to just sort of orient local stand-ups as much as I can, that it really helps to think about your career as making money, because that will take you out of just the art, or I'm just learning or finding my voice, into sort of a professionalized process of I need to get good enough, quickly enough to get paid enough. Josiah said he earned money from doing merch, which I always admire because it shows me hustle. And Caleb earned money from hosting, and I think that's sort of his future. He's a really affable guy and very comfortable on stage, and I think hosting, in addition to his stand-up, will be a nice source of income for him, especially when he gets more set up as corporate, because he's a corporate guy. And then Stu's still making money by barking at Shakespeare's and doing the sets, so that's a very Austin way of moving into at least some money, which, again, do it. We start off by talking about how there's a stand-up pathway through festivals, competitions, and industry showcases. That you're out there developing stand-up sets all the time, and your stand-up skills and more material and getting experience. But a lot of times opportunities come down to very focused windows that have been set up somewhat arbitrarily by people who want to produce stand-up, either stand-up festivals or shows or TV spots. You know, right now, the Funny AF from Kevin Hart is going on. Netflix is a Joke Festival is going on. Skankfest is just now announcing who's going to be on their lineups. So there's a lot of festival opportunities, and competition opportunities. And the thing that all these have in common is that you basically have to build a special set if you're one of the comics that have to audition. Not everybody does have to audition. Some people get passed either through management connections, or they're already famous and they don't have to do that at all. But there's still an audition layer essentially for stand-ups. And stand-ups don't really think about that as one of their primary areas of development, but they probably should, because your career advancement often hinges on, especially when you're an unknown, how good your tape is, how good you can do live, and is it a showcase set? And that's the real thing. Like, a lot of comics are used to sort of setting up bits and great lines within bits, and knowing what type of bits will work with what type of audience, you know, the limits of venues, like how clean they want you, or what topics they want you to avoid, and things like that. Or venues that want you to be filthy, and they want you to be roasty and outlandish. Every venue has its own thing, and competitions and festivals and showcases are the same. So the question is, how do you develop a showcase set, or what I suggest is a handful of showcase sets that are adapted to these opportunities you're going to be running into in the future? And that there's so many strategies for this that it's kind of difficult, again, to make a decision for a lot of comics. Some comics just take their best bit. Like, this bit always kills, it gets the best audience reaction, or other comics like it the best, or I like it the best. And if it's 5 to 7 minutes, which is generally what a showcase set is set at, although they usually, a lot of times, don't even watch it all. They watch the first minute. Then picking your best bit. But there's also, do I adapt my best bits to fit the competition or the industry slot that I'm auditioning for? And it's a tough question to answer, because when you adapt your stuff, you haven't run it like that. You don't know how it works. You don't know the ins and outs. You don't know all the little micro problems that happen within that set. So it may be adapted, but you're not as familiar with it. It's easier to forget it because you haven't run it as much. Once you've run a bit that you like, and you've set everything, locked it, and just run it over and over again, even when you get nervous, even when you have brain issues, even when all the lights are on, suddenly you're in a media environment and there's so much pressure, your brain won't just collapse. And so that's important to think about too. Anyway, there's lots of different approaches to this, and I don't mean to just sort of throw that out as a big busted bouquet of, oh, what do I do? What I want to try to do is give people some experience at building a showcase set, a special set, before it has anything really on the line. So for the next 3 or 4 weeks, we're going to run a competition within the Comedy Accelerator on Sundays where everybody gets 2 minutes, and it's uninterrupted 2 minutes. Get to go up, and that's going to be your showcase competition. And we'll do the first round, and then I'll cut it down to 10 people, or the judges, however we're going to set this up. We'll cut it down to 10 people, and then 10 people can do, the next week, and we'll pick a first, second, and third place. And again, I want to put as much pressure on people as I can. I want there to actually be a dangling carrot at the end. So we'll think about that. And I'll offer some kind of cash prize. Not that big of a cash prize, but it'll still be cash prize. Or whatever, something that makes a difference. So we're going to mock that up, do that, and that should be fun. With that in mind, for the workshop exercise this week, we broke into the little 4-person production companies. Everybody got to be talent for 5 minutes, and the other 3 people were production support, writers, directors, producers, who are helping you figure out what should be your showcase set. And I'm going to build more of that in. I want people to help each other with these sets as we develop them over the next few weeks. I don't want them to be just done in isolation. That's what comics are most comfortable with, is isolated work. I want them to, again, part of the thing about the Comedy Accelerator is getting it used to use Hollywood process and professionalize this development. So after that, we had everybody go up. We had 20 plus people go up and do 1 minute, and no feedback. We just burned through everybody back to back, and it worked fine. I thought it was kind of fun to watch everybody just, some people were scrambling like, oh, what do I do? Some people were ready with their 1 minute that they've been working through in the workshop quite a bit. And then we pulled back and we did the instant development process. So I got on stage and sat on a stool a few feet away, and I started calling comics up. First thing I did was I asked the workshop who won the competition. 20 people went up. Somebody has to win. Who won? And people started suggesting different people and for different reasons. And what I end up with is this is all arbitrary. You can kind of tell somebody has the best set, but does that mean they're the best character? Does that mean they have the best material, or they just had one good day? Who knows? So we did the instant development process by starting to bring people up on stage. And I brought Nathan up first. And Nathan's a very deadpan comic. I like his writing. I kind of like him as a character. And I asked people if he should have won, and some people liked him. And I said I would never pick him, because to me, deadpan comedy, even when you do it well, is very easy. And it's very highly used in the industry. And if I'm going to pick a deadpan comic, they have to have some kind of special character that goes along with it. Like a Stephen Wright, a Mitch Hedberg. There has to be more than just the delivery. And right now, Nathan's kind of a standard white guy. So we played around with, how do we turn him into a star? How do we make him so that he can win a festival or win a competition or pass a showcase? And like one of the things you can do is write biographically. You can do a biographically based stand-up showcase. So this is character driven. Your whole goal is to make sure that everybody understands the character that you are on stage, and they like it, and it's vivid and unusual and riveting, and they can walk away remembering it, and they can remember it so well that they can pitch it to other people. So in order to do that, you start doing things like looking again at material, performance, character, and script or communication. So the script element we were working on with Nathan was his name. Nathan's a standard name, Nate Bargatze. Bargatze is a very interesting last name. It worked against him for a long time because nobody could figure out how to pronounce it and remember it. But he kind of owns the Nate space right now. So do we make Nathan, his last name Smith, Nate Smith, Nathan Smith, something to use that piece of real estate to make people remember the name. And most comics people don't remember their names. They don't do a lot of reinforcement, a lot of marketing work on their name. And so it becomes difficult to remember them. Next up, Pat went on stage, and one of the other things you can do in this kind of showcase set is to make sure that your visuality is a clear representation of your character. Like they're in sync. So that when you look at this person, even if they're not talking, you get what that character is going to be. And Pat is Filipino. He says he came from a kind of a mixed background, but he's kind of short and kind of impish. And so to me, as he's walking up, I thought Filipino or Asian leprechaun, which I've never seen fused together before. So I thought that was kind of a fun character. And once he started going into, his Filipino background, and people started writing jokes by fusing leprechaun with Filipino, it started yielding some interesting, good jokes really quickly. So it's a character he could play. So afterwards, people go, oh, the Filipino leprechaun guy. And now they've got a character name for it. It's got a visual. It's got something that they can remember. Finally, Caleb went up and had pitched himself when we were working on this as a group, that he had been depressed for 10 years and now he's Mr. Happy. Like he just holds on to happiness. He's like, he'll take that over depression every day. And then when he went up and did his 1 minute, he didn't actually do that character. So I made him get back on stage. I'm like, I want to see Mr. Happy because that's what you sold me in the workshop. And he went up and started doing happiness. And I'm like, make people happy. Make them say, are you happy? Like use happiness, that emotion, as the anchor of your character. So he did that for a little bit, and then I'm like, okay, now do Mr. Unhappy, because he had talked about being depressed for so long. And he switched over and did emotional variations of that. Either one could work. So when you're developing a special set for showcases, and it's driven by biography, by character, these are some of the ways you can do it. There are a lot of others, but that's the really good ones to start. And I think it works really well doing that instant development process. Especially bringing people back on stage. And when I'm there, like as the producer, sort of instantly adding texture, adding script, adding direction, all the things that make it more vibrant, and not really waiting for them to develop it, but sort of developing it as a team, it grows really fast. So that was fun. Then we jetted over to the Shiner Saloon for week 11 of the Stand-Up Showcase, which was great. Had 10 regular people in the audience. People wander in and out because it's a bar. Scotty G hosted, did great. I thought some really good sets, short sets. And then Tomek Kalecki, the Polish guy who's been in town off and on after he did Kill Tony, and is a professional comic in Poland, went up and headlined, which was fun. Like he definitely is definitely gonna have some issues with people understanding him. But he speaks English, just needs to be sharpened. And I find a lot of English as second language speakers are like that. They'll learn the language before they learn the articulation. And so he's probably gonna have to work on that a little bit, but really good jokes, really likable guy. So that went well. So next week, bring in your 2 minutes, develop 2 minutes as a showcase. And I'm suggesting that everybody do it as character. That in 2 minutes, can you set a character? Does everybody get it immediately? Do you visually represent that character? Is it built into your script? Can we all agree that we get the character, we can take it away, we can repitch it, we can see where we can drop it in and use it. If we're industry, oh, I could drop the Filipino leprechaun into this thing over here. And it doesn't have to be that one thing for your whole career. It doesn't have to dominate everything you are, but this is just a showcase set. It's one version of you that can get you something that you're after, whether that's into a festival or to win a competition or to get passed for some kind of industry opportunity. So we'll see that. We'll do next week. We'll do as many people as want to go on. So next week, maybe 30 people just doing 2 minutes, and we'll just burn through them. I'm going to record it and try to give people feedback on everything, on what they do according to my 4 criteria. And then we'll whittle to 10, and we'll have the last finals of the first competition. All right, that's it. See you next time.